We're here in the Aupua of Manoa. Manoa Stream is the one that flows down this valley, and this beautiful enclave of taro gardens is perhaps the last taro gardens that we have in this valley. They were cultivated and refurbished by the University of Hawaii students. When the Hawaiians grew taro here in these big valleys, as they did in most of the large valleys on the main islands, they were capable of feeding nearly as many people as are living here today. This whole valley used to be in taro terraces, and right down through to the back of Waikiki, Mo'iliili, it provided food for this big population here on this side of the island.
Yeah, really.
Just tremendous.
Yeah, that's why it's so necessary to keep the water, under control, because, water, why is the word for wealth in Hawaii, so water, it's really important to the Hawaiians.
The water feeds the aina, the aina feeds the people.
And the people
Right.
belong with the aina and the water. About 100 yards upstream from the Manoa Bridge, we have a little manuai, it's called our dam, where we kind of use gravity and following the old Hawaii system, we get enough water to come down through here. We use about maybe 2 million gallons probably a day of water. But
taro is a very productive plant. Although Hawaiians grew taro successfully on dry land, they found it much more productive to grow it in water. From the stream, they brought the water down in an auai, and the auai took the water into the pond fields, the lo'i. And in a lo'i, the water keeps moving, and then some of the water is taken up by the plants as they absorb the nutrients. Some of it is evaporated by the sun. Some of it sinks down into the ground where it feeds the freshwater springs downstream. And then the rest of it goes off into the auai, as you can see here, and eventually goes back into the main stream. So that although there is a tremendous amount of water needed for the lo'i, the amount of water that is actually taken up and used by the taro is relatively little. So it is a very conservative plant in its use of water.
yeah, this variety is called apuai, apu meaning cup in Hawaii. So. And this is the piko ele or ipo olono. That's where we take whole kupu when we go up to Kaho'olawe. The old days, they used to have a lot of patches with a lot of these flowers, and they used to eat the flowers because they were so sweet and it smells so sweet too. But this other guys over here, this dark stem is ele, part of our ele collection. This happened to be the ele now where so. Wahia pele is like the smoke of pele. So we have 70 different types of taro now in this kanewai, and about 60 of which is Hawaiian varieties. This is a pu'uhonua for Hawaiian plants and the people. This is the last remnants of what used to be in the old Hawaiian days. We have something that we can feel, we can work with. It's part of us. We're kind of glad that we got this little ili over here to do what we're doing now. So, yeah.
A real pu'uhonua.
Yeah, a real pu'uhonua.
For the community.
Yeah, right.
That's nice. The Hawaiians, all the descriptions that we have of Hawaiian taro gardens indicate that the taro gardens were relatively small. Each one was small. They fit into the terrain rather than remake the terrain into their image, the way we use bulldozers today. Sometimes they raised fish in the lo'i, such as o'opu, and shellfish, hihivai and opai, and these contributed to the nutrients in the water. By the time the water gets down to the fish pond at the makai end of the stream, there is a tremendous amount of nutrients going into the fish pond. These nutrients then help the algae to grow and feed the herbivore fish. We're down at the end of Palolo Stream, or Manoa Stream. The two of them come together up there at the base of Manoa Valley. In Hawaiian times, they had very large freshwater fish ponds right here in Waikiki. And the word Waikiki, Wai is freshwater, Kiki means sprouting or coming up or bubbling up, and there were springs all over Waikiki. Even I can remember when there were springs in Waikiki. Some of the early explorers who were here in the latter part of the 18th century and the early part of the 19th century wrote descriptions of what this looked like with all the taro gardens, literally hundreds of taro gardens, lo'i, in this area, all fed by stream water, the awai bringing the water down from the main stream. As far as the eye could see, this whole area here in Waikiki, Kapuhulu, Moiliili, Manoa, and Palolo were covered with taro gardens. And what Vancouver and his botanists, Menzies and Kotzebue and others saw when they came here was fantastic fields of production for taro and large fish ponds in which they got their protein. They had everything that was really needed to survive. These areas were filled in, the fish ponds were all filled in the 1920s in order to make fast land for urbanization. And this canal was put in here to drain all the water out. So you have a situation where no longer does this land or do these freshwater streams produce food for people.
When Hawaiians first planted taro here, this stream was probably 4 or 5 times bigger than what it is now, maybe even more than that.
This is how we divert the water into our lo'i system. Pile up the stones, block the water, runs down the awai and into our lo'i. We don't want to dry everything up over there and divert everything down because we need some water going down the stream to keep the stream alive.
From here, the awai goes all different directions. It basically follows this bank and then we divert it off into the different taro patches. The basic system is the same for every lo'i. You divert it in one corner and go diagonal across the patch and let it go out the other corner. And the whole idea is to keep enough water in there so that it stays cold and is constantly flowing. Most people think that having a lot of rain and a lot of water is all taro needs, that's good. But actually that's not true. Taro really, it thrives in the sun, just like most plants do. Plenty water and plenty sun, that would be the best. The cycle depends on the variety. It can be anywhere from 8 months to a year and a half. And there's 2 things. One is how long it takes a taro before it's ready to harvest, and the other is how long it will keep in the patch once it is ready to harvest. The colder your water is, the longer the taro will keep in the patch. We probably have 15 different varieties. This is a pico taro, right? The pico is the place where the ha attaches to the lao. The pico taro is differentiated from the others in that the leaf is cut all the way down to the pico, as compared to, this is a manalau loa, so you can see the 2 leaves. One is cut all the way down and the other is not cut. This is another unusual variety, pico lehua api'i, because the back of the leaf has these little ruffles on it. And there's another variety over there with the white on the leaf. That's elepaio. There's a few different varieties here. This is the banlong, the one that they make the taro chips out of. This is kumu. A lot of times varieties will look different depending on where they're grown. You grow a variety in a dry, hot place, it's going to look different, have different coloration from a variety grown, the same variety grown in a wet place. And I think that That probably explains why there's over 300 names for varieties of taro, Hawaiian varieties of taro. But the flower is important to know about because the Hawaiians knew about cross-pollination, and that's how they got some of their different varieties, by cross-pollinating. And really increases your respect for what the Hawaiians knew. They're described as not as farmers but as horticulturalists because they knew so much. They were really observant of everything that went on. That's a good thing to develop in kids, to be observant of what's happening around them. This is a perfect environment for them to grow up in.
Waihe School is a unique school in the sense that the children are able to work the taro patches, plant the taro, weed the taro, take care of the taro till it's matured, and harvest the taro. And I think if more schools that have the resources do this, that's one aspect of educating our young people to one aspect of their culture. And if you could have seen the faces on those children, so proud that it's their taro, they pulled that taro, they raised that taro. And a lot of people forget the old, and they shouldn't. Because that's the foundation. That's why this was here. Because of the people that first came here. They were the intelligent ones. And we have to live, we have to learn from them.
The big taro is the makua taro. That's the mother taro, and that's where it starts from. The taros around, and the smaller taros are the oha, and that's basically where we get our ohana from, yeah? That's, the word ohana comes from that right there, from our taro corm. The whole clunk, it's one family, one ohana.
Do you ever have a sense of the past history of Hawaiians being there cultivating their taro, and here you are too?
That's all I used.
Carry on the tradition.
That's all I used. That was my main foundation. Hey, my great-grandmother, she pounded poi for everybody. This community, my family was well known. The eating of the taro, the eating of the poi. And all the Hawaiians used to come to my grandmother. You know, they wanted poi, and me need kalo, need poi. We fed a lot of people during the Depression time, during the war time, and times were hard. And I said, man, my great-grandmother did it. You know, my kupunas did it, I can do them too. And they had a history, they set one guide for me already. So all I did was go right back into it. You know, from one taro patch, kept opening another and another and another. And pretty soon, you know, I had 100,000 pounds of taro a year. I had to go through an experimental stage with all of my patches, which variety would do good in which patch. And it took me years, sort of like 10 years to find out. So, you know, it took some time to find out. I went through all kind of varieties. But I came back to this variety, which is the moe variety, basically grown in Maui. And a lot of the kupunas introduced this variety to me. It handles any conditions. The sturdiness of the taro was just, it amazed me.
Do you have any water actually going into the fish pond from the taro?
Only seepages. Part of my goal is to get the taro into the pond. This pond depends so much on the fresh water from the mountains, the fresh water from the taro patches.
About how much taro can you sell a week?
Actually, I cannot meet the demand. I just simply cannot meet the demand. With all the taro farmers in our state, we could never even dent the demand. You know, that's how much demand there is.
Thank you.
This land is all Kuleana lands, and all my family planted taro. So it's an inheritance of mine. With the Kuleana rights, you get your access rights, you know, your right-of-ways, and you get your water rights. I gotta pass them down to my kids now. So what I inherit, I gotta pass down. The taro has given me, and probably will always give me, the foundation of the land. You know, all I am is just a worker. You know, just I get the hands, I have the aloha, That's all I like to do is just plant and take care, keep things the same.
Ai, elo imua o mo'ula. Pa! Hoana! Hoana eke kula. Eke kula. Eke kula mo'ula.
Elo'imo o Mo'ula is a chant that comes from ancient Halawa, and it is a record of the first taro patches planted, or the first lo'i planted near Mo'ula Falls during the 11th century. And in the first line, Ho'oana Eke Kula, it speaks of the kahuna surveying the land, and then O'o Kahunua, they digging out the lo'i. And then Okavai Inapali o Puna Kanaloa, which speaks of the spring Kanaloa near Mo'ula Falls that they got the water from. And then after they dig the lo'i, they fill the lo'i with water, and then they have a part that goes Hehi Hehi Ekolo'i. And this part, by tradition, the whole village would turn out to come into the lo'i, and everyone would step, men, women, and children, they would step in the mud in the lo'i to make the bottom of the lo'i pa'a so that the water does not run away. And then it goes Mahi o'o eke kalo ke kalo pi'ilehua. That part speaks of the men planting the pi'ilehua taro, which was the first variety of taro planted in ancient Halawa. And then it goes Uluwana eko ha'pulau lo'ino, which means the taro flourishes in the lo'i. And then finally, in the end, huki eke kalo, the harvest of the taro.
Huki! Huki eke kalo! Huki eke kalo! Lawa! Elo imua o mo'ula.
And this chant is so precise in the motions and in the words that, you know, if in case someday in the future we ever forget how to make lo'i, well, we'll just go and refer to this chant and we will have that knowledge of how to start a lo'i as our forefathers did in the ancient times. To the ancient Hawaiians, the taro plant was very, very sacred to them, not only because it provided a staple in their diet, but religiously the Hawaiians believed that the taro was their eldest brother. And if you cut some varieties, especially the older varieties of taro, it will bleed like blood, and to them it confirms the belief that this is their ohana. And they believe that like an older brother, he is destined to take care of the younger children, and thus with the taro planting he takes care of the Hawaiian race.
These taro here are pi'i, and this particular taro was the favorite taro of Mr. Naki Imo, the Hawaiian kapuna who taught us everything we know out here. I think the old Hawaiians taught me two main things, and that is if you really want to do something, it's not hard. And the other one is that even a big job is small if you just keep going. And Emo and Rachel were both in their 70s when they started this, and mainly what they would always go is easy, easy, just go easy, easy, and that's what they did, and they did all this. That's all for the huli.
This place is the Pico Kia. See the thing come all the way to the Pico. This taro is one of the Ka'i taros. This taro is the Pi'i. This taro is Mana Ulu. They